On our nation's birthday weekend, IndyCar is capping off the celebration at a classic American road course. It's appropriately named right in the middle of the Buckeye State, the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. Fans have been staking out their spots on the hill since early morning. And everyone is chasing Spanish sensation and championship leader Alex Palou, who won the closest qualifying battle in generation yesterday. Welcome to IndyCar Live, presented by Liberty Mutual. And today we hit the midpoint of the NTT IndyCar Series season with the Honda Indy 200 at Mid-Ohio. And welcome to the front of the grid. Kevin Lee, Townsend Bell, James Hinchcliffe. There are so many storylines that we will document throughout the day, but Hinch, I think we need to start with the beginning of a new era, hybrid power in Indy cars.
Look, when we come to Mid-Ohio, we talk about the history of this racetrack and the past, but guys, this weekend, it's all about the future. Hybrid engines are here. Several years of development, a massive collaborative effort between Honda, Chevy, and IndyCar to get these units in the race cars, and these hybrids have been running flawlessly. They're going to give these drivers up to 60 horsepower more when used with push-to-pass. That's going to be a 120 horsepower jump, but it's a complicated system. There's a lot for these drivers and teams to manage over the course of this race, and because it's the first time we've done it, look, there's going to be things they're learning on the fly. So engines might be new this weekend, but Townsend, that's not the only new thing these teams and drivers are dealing with.
Well, here at Mid-Ohio, talk about new, the new surface. Now, pit lane still has all of its old character and patina, but out on the racetrack, millions has been spent to improve the surface. Other racetracks in our recent history where this has happened has led to big drama. How about Road America, repaved in 2023? Laguna Seca, repaved last year. What does it do? It increases the grip, which increases corner speed, and the drivers challenge more and more. Last year here at Mid-Ohio, this was Simon Pagenaud. A horrible crash on the old pavement. They'll be going faster today than they were last year with that new hybrid system and the new asphalt. It's going to be exciting to watch.
So much is new, experience has to matter. Nobody better to talk about that with than the six-time winner here, 20-plus years in the series. Scott Dixon is with Georgia Henneberry.
And just as you said, the best to ever do it right here at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course in the NTT IndyCar Series is Scott Dixon, a six-time winner. But today marks the start of a new era, and that's the hybrid era. So I'm curious, what's different for you inside the cockpit?
I think it's new, obviously, which I think kind of changes, what you do, what you approach, how you approach it. I think there's been a lot kind of on the technical side and definitely with the engineering group of where is the best practice, where it really helps you. For the race, we're still a little bit unknown, and especially when you add that with the OT, will that, kill the tires more, especially the rears. So there's a lot going on. There were some changes throughout the weekend too, and I think it's pretty cool to see IndyCar stepping into that phase. I think all of us would have hoped that it was, first race of the season, but to do it mid-season definitely changes it up, and it's definitely changed the car in a lot of ways, just how you deploy, workload as a driver, but then also the balance of the car because it's added some weight, especially to the rear.
Thanks, Scott. Scott, we usually see you in blue and orange. Today we're seeing you red, white, and blue this Independence Day weekend. Good luck.
And I think one of the big questions, Townsend, is can anybody catch his teammate Alex Palou from up front?
Absolutely, but you're going to have to jam him up early and then stay on top of him all day long. You cannot let him get out front by himself.
The crowd has been awesome this weekend. The weather is excellent, and we're getting closer. It's time for opening ceremonies from the grid here at Mid-Ohio.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we ask that you please rise as you're able and remove your cover as the Mansfield Police Department presents our nation's colors. Please remain standing as Jason Holt of IndyCar Ministry offers today's invocation.
Father God, we thank you for the gift of life. We thank you for creating such an amazing place for us to live. God, we pray for all of our brave men and women serving both abroad and within our borders, protecting and guarding our freedoms to gather today. So God, we ask for your protection over these drivers, teams, safety personnel, and these great fans, that we would have a safe yet exciting day of racing. But most of all, we say thank you for the hope and love available to all through the cross of Jesus Christ, in whose name I pray. Amen.
Here to honor America with the singing of our national anthem, please welcome local recording artist Wendy Reeser And Miss Ohio's teen for 2024, Allie Gray, translating the Star-Spangled Banner in American Sign Language.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watch were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Let's hear it for Wendy Reeser and Allie Gray for their...
Graham Rahal, we're racing here in front of your home fans, your home state, home track on 4th of July weekend. How is it different this year with the new hybrid system?
Yeah, it's different. I mean, today's a big learning experience for all of us. You know, obviously we know a little bit now how to utilize the hybrid in qualifying, but what it's going to be in the race and where do you utilize it differently and all that. But it's great to be here. 4th of July weekend, big patriotic guys, everybody knows. Back in my home race. Fifth Third Bank, an Ohio company. It's great to represent them and an awesome crowd here. And so it's not the qualifying we hope, Charlie, but you know, hopefully we can have a great day ahead of us.
Well, thanks, Graham. A little bit of learning to do today and a lot of progress moving forward for the 15 car.
What a way to cap the 4th of July weekend, and we are about ready to go. The command is coming up next. You're watching IndyCar Live, brought to you by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Only pay for what you need. Race fans, now is your chance to drive away with a new Corvette, courtesy of Hy-Vee. All season, enter for a chance to win one of 3. Only one has been given away so far. Grab your mobile device and scan the QR code on your screen to enter, and you can take home a Corvette.
For 2024, the NTT IndyCar Series is underway. St. Pete belongs to Joseph Newgarden. Newgarden had his win stripped for being outside the rules. Pato O'Ward was awarded the victory. Newgarden!
Hit by Colton Herndon.
He just drilled me. Scott Dixon wins. There's been contact, there's been crashes, there's been a collapsed mannequin. Scotty Mack, back-to-back. The month of May is underway. Hello, Palo in Indianapolis. Woo-hoo! This is the Indianapolis 500. One more lap, Pato goes to the lead. Around the outside, Joseph Newgarden is a 2-time Indy 500 winner.
Chaos continues here in Detroit.
Scott Dixon wins.
That was cool.
Power ends a 2-year winless drought.
Oh, man.
Alex Palou's mastery at Monterey continues. And today is round 9 of 17. Midway through the day, we get to the midpoint of the season. Drivers are strapped in. Time for more stories and back to pit lane with Georgia.
Alex Palou scored his 2nd consecutive and 6th overall NTT P1 award, and we have to remember, of his 2 points wins this year, both on road courses and both from the pole. He told me earlier this weekend he knew he had a fast car, but the goal of the weekend was to recreate those feelings he had 1 year ago when he secured 3 in a row right here at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. Let's see what he can do in this new era of IndyCar. Charlie.
Yeah, that's right. And the man joining him on the front row is Chevy-powered Pato O'Ward. He was the only Chevrolet to make it to the Firestone Fast 6 yesterday. When I spoke with him, he was so happy with his car. He said it was a clean lap, just 3/1000ths of a second short of beating Alex Palou to the pole. And Georgia, I think you've caught up with someone who's on the timing stand for Alex Palou. What's it going to take to keep Pato O'Ward behind him today?
Someone very special to the 10-car team. That's Barry Wanzer, strategist for Alex Palou. With the introduction of the hybrid, how does this change strategy?
Well, you know, it's energy we've never had before to be able to use to speed up the car. You know, we've been learning a lot all weekend to be able to use it for ultimate lap time for what we would use in qualifying. But now we're going to be using it for racing and overtaking, and combination with the traditional overtake, the mechanical overtake we've had for many years. So we're all going to be a lot smarter at the end of this race. But it's a really cool era, adding the hybrid system. It's been fun for the engineers and the drivers to learn. But it's challenging. It's challenging to use. You can use it every lap. It's available on the start and restarts, unlike the traditional overtake. So there's no changes to the traditional overtake. That won't be active till the alt-start finish line. After start and restart, of course, unless there's 2 laps to go, two or less laps to go. But the deployment of the electric energy, you'll be able to use it right on the start.
Thanks, Barry. Best of luck today.
Thanks.
Barry Wanzer, strategist for Alex Palou.
A lot of uncertainties. One thing, Hinch, is different. If a car stalls, it can be restarted without the manual starter. We saw it work today.
And this was something that everyone's been looking forward to, the ability for drivers to restart on track. This is warm-up this morning. Nolan Siegel, you hear the engine dead. Listen to this. Fires it back up, and then the reverse function now also operates using the hybrid system. It's all EV, no reverse gear in the gearbox anymore for these Indy cars. It's all done with the electric battery, backs it up enough to be off the wall, select first gear, and off he goes. So this system working for its power delivery on track and also working for its start function when you may have an off-track moment.
Pretty cool to see all the new tech at play, but at the end of the day, it's going to come down to strategy, who can manage their tires, and who can make moves if you don't start up front.
Still a lot of uncertainties on how things are going to work, but when it comes down to it, it is an IndyCar race, and the most prepared will be successful. It's about time to get going from Mid-Ohio. Let's head back downstairs for the command.
Race fans, it's time to give the command for the Honda Indy 200 at Mid-Ohio, presented by the Civic Hybrid. Please welcome today's Grand Marshal, Cleveland Browns offensive tackle, and former Ohio State Buckeye, DeWand Jones.
Drivers, start your engines!
Been given.
That was awesome, and DeWand is an Indianapolis native from Ben Davis High School and a Buckeye, and we are about set to go to start a new era. You're watching IndyCar Live, brought to you by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Only pay for what you need. We go green next.
We've not been the fastest on all practices or qualifying.
What an awesome day.
Just on the race, so that's what matters.
It's racing on a classic American road course on America's birthday weekend.
All you're doing is just making enemies. He's definitely made an enemy for me.
I'm shocked at how aggressively Peterson decided to plant his flag in this moment.
He's not going to make any friends if he holds people up.
Dude, it's not your day. Get out of the way.
That's 150 miles an hour with wheel banging going on.
Hello, Palou! Alex does it again!
Woo! What an amazing season.
This is the best moment of my career so far.
Welcome to the Honda Indy 200 at Mid-Ohio. Kevin Lee, Townsend Bell, James Hinchcliffe ready for 80 laps of IndyCar racing today. And here is a look. Left-hand side of your screen at today's starting grid, brought to you by Honda. We talked about Palou and O'Ward. Note David Malukas in just his second start of the season with an injured wrist, qualified third. Townsend, you're going to try to talk to him.
Yeah, he's scrambling. He had a stall on the grid here. He's trying to get back to his rightful position. I think he's there now. Let's see if we can reach him. Hey, David, Townsend Bell at the NBC booth. You got me?
I got you, man. How you doing?
Good to see you back in the qualifying spot you earned. Terrific job. How's the view with just 2 cars separating you between where you sit and your first career win?
I can see the pace car. We got 2 positions up in front, so, man, it's going to be a good race.
All right, well, best of luck. We know you're working hard. And, guys, he's got that wrist.
Thank you, Townsend. I'll see you on the other side.
All right, we'll see you there. He's got that wrist that was severely broken. The question is, can he hang on for his first win given the physical challenges?
Awesome stuff. Great storylines today. Let's take a look now at the track preview here at Mid-Ohio. It's brought to you by Honda, and very special this week, that very car there, our own James Hinchcliffe drove on Thursday.
Starting the lap here at Mid-Ohio, a little bit of oversteer coming out of the last corner. Going to get a little bit of the energy deployed here before turn 1. Super fast corner, so physical by the end of a race. Really stretches the neck and explores the downforce of an IndyCar. Uphill brakes here into the keyhole, one of the toughest corners on the racetrack. Falls down, pretty steep mid-corner, and then the exit's so important. We're going to give this hybrid system a full deployment down the back straight, draining the whole thing all the way down. Big brake zone, best passing opportunity here into turn 4, and then the tight turn 5, first gear, uphill, downhill, very iconic corner here at Mid-Ohio. Turn 6, got to dodge a bit of water here. Won't be the case in the race. Flat out, up over the S's here, and then into turn 9. Very difficult brake zone. Blind entry on the power, big commitment on the exit. Last little bit of deployment for the lap, then in to the fast turn 11, balancing the car on the edge, hard on the brakes now. Into 12, first gear, never-ending corner, and then again through that last corner, a little bit of oversteer to finish the lap.
Can you bring a little bit of that enthusiasm to the booth? I mean, it gets primal. I love it when you're driving. You get kind of gnarly.
Hey, look, as much as I enjoy sitting in here in the air conditioning, that's a totally different seat. That's a different experience. And unfortunately, a seat you don't want to be in right now is the position Scott Dixon finds himself in. Car has died on the pace laps, and because of the car stranded on the track, I believe we are going to have to wave off the start and start actually counting race laps the next time we cross the line.
Wow.
We're on lap 1 right now.
There you go.
Actually, the race just started, essentially under caution, and one of the championship contenders is already a lap down. Scott Dixon came in 32 points in back of the championship, so what a swing this is going to be.
So it's not clear what the issue is. They have an onboard starter on the AMR safety truck, so presumably they already tried to refire the number 9 PNC car, and Chip Ganassi, the team owner, can only hold his head in despair as the 6-time Mid-Ohio winner and the 6-time IndyCar champion gets pulled not only to the gravel, but James, this is on the outside of the track. There's really no way to get that car back to pit lane unless you went all the way out to the public roads.
Day done for Dixon. Wow. Not what they were expecting. As you say, Mr. Mid-Ohio, 6 wins here. That's such a tough break. The question I've got now, Townsend, this track's a bit unique because they always do the start down the back straight into turn 4, not into turn 1. Obviously double file there, but with the race having been started, will we be a single file restart coming out of the last corner on the front straight, or still a double file into 4?
I believe that'll be normal restart procedure, so the conventional start's abandoned. We are counting laps right now. It should be single file on the traditional front straightaway.
So there you go.
And advantage, Alex Palou.
Absolutely.
Georgia, what do you know?
Well, they came over to Dixon and said they didn't see any issues before the voltage on the number 9 dropped, but listen into some radio.
Scott, you need to recharge. Coming down quickly.
It's not doing anything. But the engine's stopped now.
Go to neutral, stay in P2. Let's try to refire the car.
Do we need to start from them? Hurry up.
And unfortunately, the day for the 6-time winner of this race is done.
And we understand from race control, Kevin, a correction that for this one restart, it will take place on the back straightaway. Let's see what happens. Pace car is off as Alex Palou leads the field. And it looked like he was going, but no, just warming his tire. So this first restart, it appears, will be on the back straight.
And it appears they are doubling up.
Are they?
Yeah, I mean, it was the race control in the driver's meeting. The race control said, the driver's briefing said, side by side out of one. Here we go. They're lining up for a full proper start, even though we will be already on lap 3.
Counting laps. All right, well, we get to see the action happen. Kev, take us there.
2 laps are complete. We are working lap 3, but this is go time. The beginning of a new era, hybrid power, but it's also all about the championship as we get started in the second half of the season. The green car is below the championship leader, Pato Award, black and orange on the outside. It's time to go from Mid-Ohio, and Palou gets the early jump. Side by side, back there for third, Pato Award chasing Palou.
Looking for that first Team Penske car. Scott McLaughlin in the black and red car going to the outside of the black and yellow car of Colton Herta.
Going to get that position down into turn 6. A little bit of lockup from Christian Lundgaard looking at the back of Alexander Rossi side by side through Thunder Alley. That is tough. They're going to have to sort it out here into turn 9. But Linus Lundqvist on the outside of Lundgaard. Same with the second Meyer shank machine of Felix Rosenquist. All sorts of action at the back.
They all made it through 4, 5, 6 in the S's, and look at the jump that Palou already has. 5 car lengths on Award.
That light blue car, Indy 500 winner Joseph Newgarden, the PPG colors, making some moves early.
Nolan Siegel trying to hang it on the outside of the 2-time champion. Now defending against, I believe that's Graham Rahal into turn 1. Rinus VeeKay going to take advantage. He gets Rahal into 1. That's going to leave him exposed down to the keyhole.
Contact there with Santino Ferrucci, I believe, in another car. And now Alexander Rossi getting passed by Christian Lundgaard.
How about that? Christian Lundgaard is replacing Alexander Rossi in that car. That's one of the storylines. Rossi is looking for work next year. Lundgaard is moving to Arrow McLaren, and he's got to run on Rasmussen.
Left side.
Some Christian on Christian maneuvers right there, but he overshoots it, does Lundgaard. Rasmussen trying to respond on the outside of 5. He'll have the inside for 6. But Lundgaard tries to hang it on, not going to be enough. Bold move.
But we're
Christian
seeing
Lundgaard.
the benefit of the new pavement at Mid-Ohio. That outside groove, especially at the start, nice and grippy. Later on, the marbles will accumulate outside, but it's nice and clean, and the grip is strong.
On the pylon to your left, you can see the graphics showing when drivers are regenning their charge on their hybrid system. That's when the green bar is on there. When it's red, they are deploying. They are using that energy to find a little more speed. Remember, 60 horsepower gain anytime you're using this new hybrid system.
Right on board the Gainbridge car for Colton Herta as we take a look at the Firestone telemetry and specifically the hybrid. Lower left-hand side, you'll see Colton Herta deploying. Well, no, he's not. He's saving it.
And this is what we're going to be learning throughout the race, just like the teams and drivers will be. And you can see as he gets off the throttle, onto the brake, it charges back up to 100%. Learning how and when you want to deploy, how and when you want to regen is going to be a big learning process throughout this race.
And they have hybrid, Kevin, and they also still have push to pass. When used together, it's about 120 additional horsepower.
And there's a limit to the amount of hybrid they can use per lap, as we see Herta use a little squirt there. It's essentially about 2 4.5 second bursts available per lap.
And you don't have to use it all in a full 4-second burst. You can do 1 second, 2 seconds off a corner, and then save the rest for later in the lap. Again, another thing for all these drivers to consider.
We're off and rolling, and Alex Palou has already opened up a 2-second lead here at Mid-Ohio. Back at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course for the Honda Indy 200, Alex Palou from pole has built up a 3-second lead in really 5 laps of green flag racing. The race started under caution because championship contender, 6-time winner here, 6-time champion, Scott Dixon did not start the race. Power issue. It's a huge day of motorsport here on NBC. The Cup Series is right after us. Street racing in NASCAR from Chicago. Kyle Larson on the pole, finished 2nd in the Xfinity race yesterday to Shane Van Gisbergen, who won in his Cup debut there last year. Awesome weekend in Chicago. Your whole day is planned right here on NBC.
Watching these Indy cars run single file at Mid-Ohio, this is the part of the race where you really start to give your team feedback. They're asking you as a driver, how's your car? How's your balance? What's the tire degradation like? The top 13 runners all on the harder black Firestone compound. The first red, softer compound car is Felix Rosenqvist back in 14th. We're at lap 9. Keep in mind the first few laps were under caution. So James, maybe a little early for things start to fall apart in terms of handling for Felix Rosenqvist, but he will have satisfied the requirement. Let's go back down to pit lane with Charlie Kimball. Charlie, what can you tell us about potential degradation?
Yeah, the drivers and engineers of these teams were all talking about a bigger amount of degradation because of that hybrid weight. It's rearward, it's hard on the rear tires, and those red sidewalled alternates, which are the least popular at the start, some of those grained really early. That right front takes a beating through turn 1, and they were really worried about protecting those tires to go as many laps as they need to in a stint.
So guys, some action early on that first lap between two of the guys on screen, Colin Herta in the Gamebridge Andretti Global car, and Scott McLaughlin driving the Sancio Chevy for Penske this weekend. Look at this, this is through turn 4, but keep an eye to the right. You'll see the number 3 of McLaughlin try to get all the way around, and he was wheel to wheel in the 6th. Normally that would give you the position, but just not able to roll enough speed through the apex because of the Meyer-Shank car of Malukas right in front there. Colton able to just run that outside line and keep the position.
And there's Scott Dixon's car, painfully, emotionally painful to see as a team member or a driver as it gets dropped off back on pit lane. And Dixon stands ready, helmet still on. Maybe they're thinking they can get him out and salvage any points possibly. I'm sure there's a lot of confusion as to what exactly went wrong at the start.
And potentially crushing in the championship. 32 back, coming in now 81 back points as they run.
And his teammate, Kiffin Simpson for Chip Ganassi Racing, the first, I believe, to duck to pit lane. We call it the dumpster dive. You're looking for treasure. Deep down, and in this case, they're trying an alternate strategy, but that is not good. He just stalled it on pit lane.
And the hybrid system is inactive on pit lane, so the driver not able to start it from inside the car. That's why you see that starter coming. Is down on the racetrack. Graham Rahal, hometown hero, trying to make a move on Rinus VeeKay down into turn 4. Both drivers on the button, and he pulls it off.
Job done for the 2015 winner in his hometown race. Graham Rahal, the 5th Third Bank Honda,
clear by 1. Well
in
done.
front of VeeKay. A lot of work to do, though, to get up to the front.
Not a great start for Graham Rahal. That was a pass to get him into 19th. He started in 18th and would have gained a spot from Dixon's retirement, so lost a few early, trying to make up some ground here. He is on those softer red tires, which again, Townsend, those early caution laps, that buys those drivers on these more delicate tires a few laps as Rinus VeeKay dives in.
Rinus VeeKay's in, so's Joseph Newgarden. Charlie, I wonder, do they think the tires are already falling away?
I'm not sure if it's tires. They're going to the Firestone alternates, filling it with Shell fuel. A great pit stop by the Team Penske boys. Those alternate reds definitely grained a little bit on the front. Looking for a long stint on these primaries.
I mean, long stint, I'm thinking this is a 3-stop Hail Mary.
For sure.
I mean, at lap 12, there's no way you can do this on just one more stop. So Joseph now, clear racetrack, fast laps, hammer it qualifying pace, and hope that eventually a yellow falls in the right way to converge the strategies and he'll have track position.
Or if a yellow doesn't fall, you can do it on just pace, that you can make up enough time by not having any fuel restrictions, and to your point, just doing pure fastest laps possible.
With his PPG on board, you can see his hybrid status down to 0 on these in and out laps. As always, push to pass is crucial, but anytime you're going to use push to pass, you're going to supplement it now with that hybrid energy, regenning as he comes through the middle section of this racetrack here. But for Newgarden to make those passes on track, Townsend, you need people saving a lot of fuel. And for the two-stoppers, it's just not big enough of a save, as we see Marcus Armstrong, one of the drivers penalized after qualifying for an unscheduled engine change. He was 5th in his Firestone Fast 6 appearance. We see Nolan Siegel as well. Both drivers going to those alternates.
Felix Rosenqvist, teammate to David Malukas, also in. So Newgarden on the front straightaway. Where will these three blend with the driver of car number 2? Here comes Newgarden at speed. Tires are hot.
And this is going to be crucial. Newgarden has to get ahead of Marcus Armstrong for this to make sense, and that's a big send on the outside of the keyhole, well executed, and it's all sort of coming unraveled because Armstrong now isn't going to have that clean air. Neither is Felix Rosenquist. These guys are too close together, but Newgarden at the front of this three-stop strategy.
Shouldn't hurt Armstrong too much, though, because he's at least got a quick car in front of him. Newgarden should have the pace. So we'll keep an eye on this different strategies. I talked to some people at pit lane while we were on the grid. There was some thought that some people may not be able to make the alternates last a full stint, so you might just try a three-stopper.
But they're not one of them because Armstrong switched on to the alternates. He's already done a short run. It's going to be interesting to see how this one plays out.
Well, there are going to be a few twists and turns here as Alex Palou, for the moment, controls. You're watching NBC's coverage of IndyCar, brought to you by Honda, proud partner of the NTT IndyCar Series. IV, this racing season, help IV reach their goal of 100 million meals by visiting IV.com. And by NTT, official sponsor and technology partner of the NTT IndyCar Series. Alex Palou has opened up a 5-second lead here at Mid-Ohio, but his teammate, the 6-time winner here, Georgia, Scott Dixon, is already out and will finish last.
Yeah, Scott Dixon has retired from this race back in the garage area. I'm sure still some questions to be answered, but first and foremost, what happened from your perspective?
Kind of weird. It just, there was no alarms, but when I looked down, because the team said, oh, you got to go into recharge, but something started discharging the capacitor immediately. Like at an excessive rate, so some kind of failure there with the power side of the hybrid, which is definitely not a great way to start it for the first time. Didn't even make the warm-up lap, so a lot of unknowns right now. I guess Honda and everybody else will try to figure out what the issue is, probably Ilmore as well on that side, and see if we can get it refired, at least to know what the problem is to go back out.
Scratching their heads, but I'm sure they will get to the bottom of this. Scott Dixon.
Well, the reality is, as we see a little side-by-side battle here with Marcus Armstrong picking up position on his teammate Linus Lundqvist, who just pitted.
He just pitted on that three-stop strategy, so that's the blend-out. Remember, Newgarden and Armstrong also on that three-stopper, so Lundqvist right in the mix there.
Things fail in motorsport. That's the way it has always been, and this is a new technology, and there's still a lot to learn.
Still a lot to learn, and we've seen very few issues throughout practice over the weekend. So unfortunate for the 9 car that it all sort of reared its head in the middle of a race, beginning of a race.
Meanwhile, up front for Alex Palou, you want to talk about smooth sailing. I want to show you that it's not just driver, it takes a team. And Alex Palou has a race car that's working very, very well. Have a look at his left front right here in terms of the feathering, the wear rate on that Firestone. You see just a thin little line where the tire degradation is starting to show. But you compare that to onboard here with Pato O'Ward. Look at his left front. Much more severe degradation right there. A lot more understeer. It's even starting to look almost like it's about to blister on that left front. So Palou, one heck of a driver, but Chip Ganassi is a team with Palou, a lethal combination.
One of the cool things that comes with being in a new era of the sport is the innovation that comes with it. So one of the solutions that McLaren has come up with for allowing its drivers to understand when its hybrid system is charging where the battery is these two displays on the side of the top of the cockpit. So watch as we get to the brake zone in 4, it will start to charge. You will see how it mirrors exactly what's happening on the pylon graphic. Every time he's off throttle, that charge grows. And when he then uses to deploy, it goes down. The lights flash blue to let the driver know that he has selected the deploy status. And this is a unique solution that McLaren's come up with.
Now, unique to this team for this weekend. It would not surprise me. In fact, I've heard a couple other significant teams already admiring McLaren's solutions. So there could be a quick case of catch-up throughout the field for the balance of the season.
A good look with the arrow on board with Pato O'Ward running in second. Down to Charlie Kimball.
Yeah, we were talking about some of that tire wear, and Will Power, who's been under the weather this weekend, is feeling better, but his tires are definitely hurting.
You're clear, Will. The priority would be closing the gap versus an extra lap.
Yeah, I'm trying. I am actually trying. Like, guys have grained badly.
So he's talking about the tire temperatures, and he's definitely got some of that feathering you were talking about, Townsend, on that left front.
He's just going to have to soldier it out. Now, lap 20, You could pit now and convert to a 3-stop strategy, but I think they're going to try to hang on to that lap 27, 28 window, which you'll need to hit if you want to make this thing in 2 stops.
Power was the highest starter on the alternates in 15th. As we see his Verizon on board. Everyone else, though, is going to have to pay the price at some point. Often the track gets a little better, though. A little easier to make them last longer with more rubber on the track. Yes, Hinch?
Yeah, absolutely. Degradation's usually the best, meaning the least aggressive later in the race as you have more laps down, more rubber down. And one guy that's doing a great job right now, David Malukas. We talked about it earlier, driving with a hand in a brace. It's wrapped. It's still going through a rehabilitation program after his break. You can see there the kind of, we won't call it hardware, it's software. Do we call it software when we're talking about this?
Anything it takes. Anything it takes for David Malukas. I talked to him this morning about the hand and really the adversity of having this amazing Arrow McLaren ride as a young driver, losing that, being dropped by McLaren, getting picked up by Meyer Shank. I said, you know, how did you kind of fight through the mental adversity of knowing you had lost the golden opportunity and to come back and do what you did in qualifying yesterday? He told me, as Mike Shank watches on there, he said, if you think about what my parents went through, immigrating from Lithuania when the Soviet Union fell apart, coming here with absolutely nothing, starting from zero, building a business, building a family. He said, I had to remind myself that this was nothing like what they've done, and that's what motivated me to get to the finish and pull off what he did. He wasn't surprised in his performance, but it really was a repayment, if you will, to everything his parents had sacrificed to get him to this point.
And then how about the reward he's giving back to Jim Meyer and Mike Shank, and Elio Castroneves, who saw this opportunity. They replaced Tom Blomqvist out of this car. They saw that McLaren had released Malukas. You almost wonder if they're thinking they pulled the trigger a little too early on that one, as he runs in third right now.
How about Toby Sowery, the 28-year-old Brit who has done some racing and has won in Indy Lights, now Indy Next in 2019, making his debut, and he is ahead of several veterans. And that's Scott Dixon back on track, fresh from talking with Georgia. They did get out to try to score some points and avoid last place day. But by the way, well done for Toby Sowery, his only confirmed race of the year. Perseverance playing off for him with Dale Coyne Racing. So, can Dixon climb back with the PNC Bank car today? He'll keep working at it while Alex Palou is in front. Oh, look at the crowd gathered in front of China Beach, turns 4, 5, and 6. They can all grab their mobile device with a chance to drive away with a new Corvette, courtesy of Hy-Vee. Enter for a chance to win one of 3 Corvettes. 1 has been given away, 2 remain. Get your mobile device, scan the QR code on the screen to enter. Kevin Lee, Townsend Bell, James Hinchcliffe, Charlie Kimball, and Georgia Henneberry at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, where Alex Palou leads by 6 seconds. Georgia Scott Dixon is back on track. What do you know about Chip Ganassi Racing?
Well, we just talked to Scott Dixon back in the garage, but it seems like it could be a quick fix. He alluded to it in his interview that they needed to recharge the hybrid, and they did exactly that. So we'll see if that makes all the difference, but he is back out there, a quick turnaround for the number 9 team. Now, the number 11 of Marcus Armstrong, they made a quick decision because originally they were starting this race on a 2-stop strategy. They noticed cars gaining on them when they went out there and made a very quick audible to come in and try that 3-stop strategy. So for Taylor Kyle and the team, very quick audible for the 11 team. Alex Palou also should be coming in shortly for his first pit stop.
Yeah, they're getting close to that pit stop window, but I'm not sure, Townsend, that audible is going to pay off. Looking at the pace that they're running up front, the pace that these 3-stoppers are running, there's not enough of a differential for these drivers to just move through the field on pace.
You need to be a second faster per lap, and they're barely even, really slower than Alex Palou, who's on that 2-stop strategy, as you saw Toby Sowery make his first pit stop. So I agree with you, James. It's going to take a perfectly timed yellow, kind of a stroke of luck, frankly, because Palou, untouchable right now out front.
Well, let's go to the think tank now. Thinking about 3 stops, going fast while others are trying to do it on 2 and save. Appropriate that we have Charlie Kimball working with us on pit lane. Charlie, that's how you won the race in 2013. You got to go fast.
Absolutely. It's always more fun when you got clean air, clean track, and a fast race car underneath you. unbelievable when you've got that to be able to go out and get the job done. Every driver and engineer I've talked to this weekend, they have said clean air is king. So working the pit strategy to get themselves out in clean air is what it takes.
Well, Armstrong has clean air, but unfortunately that last lap was a 108.0. Palou just did a 107.8, so Palou still quicker, and James now he's comfortably in the window to pit and make it on just one more stop as Pato O'Ward fighting with his car. He gets the fuel alarm, so it'll be pit this time or probably the next lap.
All right, you hear the box call, and let's take a look at those gaps. That's going to be important. 5.6 seconds between Palou and O'Ward, with O'Ward being able, with Palou rather, being able to do that extra lap, at least the overcut running longer. That could potentially increase that gap as a big lockup from the number 5 if it gets down to the 45-mile-an-hour PLC limit. And now it's time for the crew on pit lane to do their work, Charlie.
Absolutely. Here comes Pato O'Ward. They've got red sidewall Firestone alternates set out. That thing's full of Shell fuel, trying to go as much as they can. They add 2 turns of front wing. He's away. He's got a hold for the 66 of David Malukas coming in. Take a couple extra seconds as he launches cleanly.
And that's going to sting for Pato O'Ward. You're looking for every advantage as David Malukas gets a wing adjustment, but he stalls. Oh no, disaster.
Neutral. So O'Ward loses a couple of seconds. Malukas is going to lose 5, 6, or 7 seconds.
And that'll mean several positions lost on track if this stays green and the other cars pit. Here comes Malukas blending back out. You see he's behind Linus Lundqvist, who already made his first stop on the 3-stop strategy and falls behind his teammate, Felix Rosenqvist.
Now again, those drivers on a completely different strategy, but still, you want that clean air if you can get it, and it was only a 1-lap difference between first and second as Georgia, the leader, Alex Palou, comes to pit lane.
And the dominant leader is that he has taken complete control of this race. He's going to reach the 10 team. They are ready for him with those Firestone red tires. He pulls into his pit box. The Shell fuel goes in. They make that pit stop, those Firestone reds go on. The blacks come off. They filled it up, and he's left his pit box. No stall.
Well, a little bit scattered there. Palou probably lost a couple of seconds, but he certainly didn't lose 6 seconds. You saw an issue with the right front. Gun got jammed, a little bit of a stumble from the tire changer, and here's Colton Herta on pit lane.
Remember, guys, Pato O'Ward had to hold his outside front. Brendan Cleve, very heads up, seeing Malukas coming down pit lane, held him. He probably lost 2.5 seconds sitting there stationary, so should have still come out plenty ahead of Pato O'Ward, and we can see it on the monitor. He has comfortably in front right now.
And there you see Colton Herta with Joseph Newgarden. Newgarden, the leader of the 3-stop strategy, as these guys, Rasmussen and Ericsson, are side by side.
What a move for Marcus Ericsson on the outside of the keyhole, hard on the brakes. Now he's going to have to defend into turn 4. We saw some nifty driving from the Dane Christian Rasmussen earlier, but now it's the Swede Marcus Ericsson making some moves. Using those softer red tires to good effect. And now Rasmussen, going to be under attack from, I believe that's Marcus Armstrong directly behind him.
Meanwhile, Scott McLaughlin is not pitted yet. Oftentimes here, staying out longer, called the overcut, has worked. So we're really going to take a look at the blend as McLaughlin, who was running 5th before it started, as he made up some ground.
Yeah, that overcut from McLaughlin relies on blisteringly quick lap times to pull it off, and he just turned the fastest lap of the race at a 107.2.
So look, a little bit of a holdup for Palou, big holdup for Pato O'Ward, and an extraordinarily large holdup for David Malukas. Scott McLaughlin, he was running 5th on track before this pit sequence started. It'll be interesting to see where he cycles out, because this overcut's going to be powerful, along with a lot of the drivers in front of him having some issues on pit lanes.
Let's watch here. What does McLaughlin do? Does he come to the box, or can he squeeze out one more fast lap? Got to come in.
To the box, the Sancio on board, showing you how tight it is as you get into pit lane here at Mid-Ohio. And Georgia, he's coming to you. This is going to be an important stop for the Thirsty Threes.
It's going to be so important. You saw how frustrated he was in qualifying yesterday. That's because he knew he had a fast car. He started 6th. He's currently 5th before this pit stop. Those Firestones red went right on. They're filling it up with that Shell fuel.
So Palou has easily gone by, so has Pato O'Ward, but he's got a chance to come out 3rd out of this in front of Colton Herta, so +2 on the exchange for Scott McLaughlin.
Yeah, Malukas' issues obviously were going to push him back, but he, on pace, on merit, got ahead of the Gamebridge Honda of Colton Herta. The overcut working so far for the Penske guys.
First round of stops done. Some are doing it on 2. Some will need 3 here today at Mid-Ohio. You're watching NBC's coverage of IndyCar, brought to you by NTT, official sponsor and technology partner of the NTT IndyCar Series. And by 5 Hour Energy, proud partner energizing RLL Racing. 5 Hour Energy, tastes great, fixes tired fast. About a third of the way, past a third of the way complete. A significant amount at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course for the Honda Indy 200. Alex Palou from pole has been in charge the entire race, +5 seconds on Pato Award. Charlie running in second right now.
He is running second. He started second, still in second. As you can see, he's got those Firestone red sidewall tires. The teams are coaching him, trying to take care of those tires.
On a fuel number 82 or better, fuel 82 or better. Siegel just ran red. Front left limitation. Front left protected.
Everybody talking about that front left limitation. It's feathering. When it starts to feather, it doesn't get better, guys.
So Charlie, from the driver's seat, what is Pato having to do now? What is he actually changing behind the wheel to take care of that left front tire?
Well, the biggest place that left front gets a lot of load is down into turn 4. You just back the brake zone up, put a little less energy. If you've got understeer, you don't add wheel. You don't slide it any more than you absolutely have to, because once it starts graining, it gets hotter, you slide it more, it gets worse and worse and worse.
So there you go. That's great information from the crew. You see the race engineer, Will Anderson, for the number 5 Pato Award.
Benefit of a multi-car team
100%.
running multiple strategies and giving that information to Pato.
Well, Nolan Siegel has already had to pit a second time, so that tells you the alternates did not last as long as he wanted, but there's a little more options when you're on the 3-stop strategy like Siegel is from coming early.
And look, guys, the track temperature is going up. It was about 118 degrees Fahrenheit when we started. It's crept up to 122 degrees now. So for the drivers that were able to get the alternate run out of the way early, I'm looking at drivers like Will Power. It might even be a tiny bit more difficult the further we get into this race if that track temp continues to go up.
So knowing that the red tire is a bit of a struggle on degradation, look for Alex Palou to shorten this stint. Probably run to lap 52 before he makes his last stop to get to the end. On board here with PPG and Joseph Newgarden, the lead car on that 3-stop strategy. As you see the Firestone telemetry, he's using that hybrid lower left corner, burning quite a bit up the front stretch. He'll get some recharge through turn 1 and save it in this case, possibly for the back straightaway.
You'll see on the brakes here that recharge happen, that energy pack grow in its capacity. As I say, you see it deplete them all the way down to 0 on the straightaway. This is something that drivers can do every lap if they want.
You're going to pit this lap.
And Joseph's going to go for as fast a lap as possible. Remember, he is on that alternate strategy. He is on the 3-stopper. And let's take a look right now. NTT Data has broken down the strategies for us. On the primary strategy, strategy A, Palou, O'Ward, McLaughlin, the 3 running up front on that. Below, you see strategy B, 3 stops for strategy B. Newgarden in 5th, Lundqvist 8th, and Rosenqvist on your screen, 9th.
And I think by bringing Newgarden in, Kevin, the idea is finding clean air. They're probably doing the math, like if they bring him now, where will he get back out on track? Because he needs fast lap times to have any chance. AutoNation camera from Kyle Kirkwood looking out the back as Joe New comes to Charlie Kimball on pit lane.
That's right, the 2-team goes to work. Firestone primaries, those black sidewalls coming on. They add 2 turns of front wing, a full tank of shell foil fuel, and he is away cleanly.
Yeah, clinical stop there.
Stop black. You'd end up in a road traffic.
From the Penske group.
Pretty good timing right there. You see Santino Ferrucci coming through, although I don't think Newgarden can beat him out. So that's going to put Joseph Newgarden behind Ferrucci and Toby Sowery, that's not what he wanted, Kevin, is to have to fight straight out of the pits.
He really needs to be able to get by Sowery as soon as possible, but Sowery is on hot Firestones. He's got no chance. At least not for a little bit. It's going to take him a few laps.
These guys going to pit soon?
Both on reds right now. They're both on reds. It's stop strategy. They've been out there about half a stint.
Yeah, Toby Sowery last pit on lap 25. We're on lap 38 currently, so still a few laps that he'll have to manage. And Georgia, speaking about managing, our leader, Alex Palou, is caught in the back of the field. Jack Harvey dealing with traffic right now.
As about half the field runs on those Firestone red tires. Let's just take a listen on what team is telling leader Alex Palou.
Award, McLaughlin, and Herta are running similar, if not slower, lap times than we are on the red. It's all about taking care of these tires.
Copy.
Taking care of those red tires ever so important on a race like this. But guys, how challenging is it as well?
Well, if you're Alex Palou, it doesn't sound very challenging. that copy 10-4 sounded like, yep, whatever, no big deal. I'll just do me.
He sounds like he's filling out TPS reports at the office. I mean, it doesn't really sound like this driver's stressed physically, mentally. He is just absolutely controlling right now the pace out front. 4.3 second gap to Award.
And that was the thing with the hybrid system, is all of this additional complexity, both for the teams but also the drivers. It almost advantages Alex Palou because he's so precise. He's like a surgeon. He's so disciplined that the more complicated, the better for this guy.
And you said it too earlier, Townsend. It's also about the car. It's got to be up to the job. When I watch Palou through those changes in direction, 13, 14, 5 into 6, he is not overslipping that front tire at all. He is doing a great job of controlling that pace as we see the number 60, Felix Rosenquist, going down to pit lane. So that tire advantage just going even more Palou's way, and Georgia's down in the 60 pit.
Yeah, Felix Rosenquist, one of those few on that alternate strategy, makes his way to the team. Firestone black tires come off. Firestone black tires go right back on that. So Felix Rosenquist, one of those on that 3-stop strategy, and he's hitting back to the track.
You can hear the car struggling to get out of the pit box. We've seen a couple cars stall. They run a very tall first gear here at Mid-Ohio, and it's so difficult in an uphill pit lane and a tall first gear to get these cars rolling.
And you should think, well, the tires should slip because they're cold. They haven't been run yet, but it's 123 degrees on the track. There's nothing cold about Firestones that are new going on at Mid-Ohio. It's hot out there.
We've got natural tire warmers. Just set them out in the sun. They're ready to go.
They are baking.
Guys, look, it's not by much, but Pato Award is kind of closing the gap a tiny bit to the race leader. A tenth or two faster on that last lap. Remember, before those stops, we looked at that gap. It was about 5.5 seconds.
Half distance right now, and this is the point where we start analyzing push to pass. You got the hybrid system, and then you still have the legacy turbo boost improvement from push to pass. Palou barely touching the button at 184, but Pato Award, to your point, if he can keep the pace, get a yellow, he'll have plenty of push to pass to help him down the stretch.
It's Palou, Award, McLaughlin, Herta, and Erickson. 4th of July weekend in Mid-Ohio. We're just past the midpoint of the Honda Indy 200 at Mid-Ohio on a full day of motorsport on NBC. Right after us, it's street racing in NASCAR. From Chicago, the Cup race is coming up today, 4:30 green flag. Can Shane Van Gisbergen go back-to-back? He won on debut last year, won the Xfinity race yesterday. Kyle Larson and others will have something to say. Larson on the pole. That's after we're done today. 4 o'clock airtime on NBC. Here it's Alex Palou in front where he started. Pato Award started and runs second. Scott McLaughlin has picked up a couple of spots. Actually 4 from his 7th place starting position. Runs third. Colton Herta, Marcus Erickson, the top 5. Other big story, if you just joined us, you see Scott Dixon, 21 laps down. He had a power issue. The car would not start at the beginning of the race. They got it sorted in the garage, and he is back out, hoping there is some attrition to score some points. Right now, points as they run 81 back. He started the day in third, 32 behind Palou.
And not just the points, just the opportunity to test in race conditions with the new hybrid system. Dixon been doing this longer than anybody else in the field, and he knows testing limited in IndyCar. Why not use the rest of this race to just learn?
Absolutely. This is even a guy as tenured as Scott Dixon can learn every lap of a race, especially with this new technology on board. It's as much for him as it is the engineers.
But
no reason to not be on track.
For the leaders, Hinch, we're starting to get into the meat of the tire window as Palou, Award, McLaughlin all run on the softer red compound. These are the challenging, say, next 8 laps where you're really starting to hang on to the grip. You're hoping that all the work you did to try to take care of those Firestone Reds in the first 10 laps pays you back with consistent performance.
What's notable there is we look at the front runners. Linus Lundqvist running 6th, but he is likely on a 3-stop strategy. He is the only one in the top 10 plus that stopped early in lap 16, but he's on the primary, so he can go longer than those that got their red stint out of the way, the softer compound. So he still has to do that, though. So does Alexander Rossi, and so does Romain Grosjean, so we should see Lundqvist coming in soon.
Yeah, I think he's going to pit this lap from what we understand, and unfortunately he'll have to pit this time, and then another stop to get to the end. So far, that 3-stop strategy just not yielding the pace advantage that they need to make it work. The number 8, Be the One car comes to pit lane.
And Charlie's there.
I am indeed. Linus Lundqvist heading down to the outside front of Brad Wright. Those black primaries come off. Brand new Firestone alternate stickers. Car full of shell fuel. He's going back out. Clean stop.
So we're going to have a second round of stops, and the final stop still a little bit away. Stay with us from Mid-Ohio. You're watching NBC's coverage of IndyCar, brought to you by Hy-Vee. This racing season, help Hy-Vee reach their goal of 100 million meals by visiting Hy-Vee.com. Fifth Third Bank, official partner of Rahal Letterman Lanigan Racing. This is banking a Fifth Third better. And by Honda, proud partner of the NTT IndyCar Series. Kevin Lee, James Hinchcliffe, Townsend Bell, Georgia Henneberry, and Charlie Kimball at Mid-Ohio. Alex Palou still in front of Pato Award, but that gap is starting to tighten a little bit here in the second stint of the race.
Was at about 4.5 seconds, now down to just 3 seconds, as thanks to NTT, we take a look at the last 3 lap times between Palou and Award. And on that last lap, Award about a 10th quicker, as now he's in view. So for Alex Palou, it's been pretty easy dealing up front, but if he looks in his rear view mirror now, Georgia, he can see that papaya and black Arrow McLaren drawing ever closer. I gotta wonder, are tires becoming an issue for the leader?
Well, I just talked to Barry Wanzo. He said that the red tires are actually holding on longer than they anticipated. He's probably going to come in the next 5 to 6 laps for that last stint, but all things considered, Barry Wanzo's happy with how the reds are holding up.
But Alex Palou is finding the tail end of the lead lap traffic. Unfortunately for Pato Award, that first car he encounters, Palou, is his teammate, Kiffin Simpson. So we'll see what Chip Ganassi does as a team here. Still about 3 to 4 laps before they make their last stop, James, and those front Firestone Reds are looking well used for Alex Palou.
They certainly are, but he's got to, look, the gap's down to 2.6 now. It really is heading that direction. Here's the thing, if I'm Palou, maybe starting to be nervous about the trend of what's happening behind me with Award, but at the same time, think back to that first stint when they were both in the primaries, big advantage to the 10 car and Alex Palou. So I'm not stressed yet.
This is where the pressure comes for the teams on pit lane, Kevin. When we come back, it's going to be guns a-blazing.
Things are tightening up at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. That gap for Alex Palou that was over 5 seconds. We noticed it was at 3 a few laps ago. Now is down to a second. Pato Award can see Alex Palou, who has controlled throughout the day.
This is an impressive run from Award now, just a second behind Palou. Clearly liking these red tires better than the number 10 car. Now, again, you think back to the first stint on the primaries, advantage Palou, but look, the track's changed, the temperatures come up, rubber's gone down. There's a chance that the setup on that 5 car is just coming to Pato.
And we're in lap 52, so we're in the window now to make your final stop, and it's close enough now, guys, that Palou really has no advantage. It's going to come down to in laps, out laps, and what the team can accomplish on pit lane with fuel and tires.
And look, we know they're going to be using the hybrid. They do it almost every lap, but how about push to pass? 176 for Pato O'Ward, 151 for Palou. So advantage to the 5 car when they start getting to a place where they're pushing the button to defend and attack. This is a proper race now, guys. It's just going to put even more pressure on the teams in pit lane as well. A 1 second delta on the racetrack. That's an easy thing to lose or gain when you're in the pits.
2 laps ago, O'Ward was a half a second better. This last lap, 0.6 of a second better. Pato O'Ward is coming.
So here's the problem for Palou. You think, okay, fine, get in, get off those and onto the primaries, but O'Ward's pace is so good, you give him that clean air, he could use the overcut to his advantage. It's going to be interesting to see who blinks first in this battle. You really don't want to be the first one to pit lane.
But somebody else deeper down in the field is about to gamble and be the first to make their last stop, put these guys in the danger zone for a lap, so that might also force Alex Palou and Chip Ganassi to cover. 54 laps complete, still no takers on pit lane as Palou and O'Ward might make a move even this lap.
He's close. Also note, Marcus Ericsson just got by Colton Herta, so Ericsson for Ganassi, for Andretti, the former Ganassi driver, is having a strong day. But the story is up front. Pato O'Ward within 3 or 4 car lengths. Not close enough this time. When will they make their final stop?
Got to be soon. I mean, it is going to be soon, but...
And now you see cars on pit lane, I believe.
You heard Barry Wanzer on Palou's radio say he's using more fuel to catch up to you, so that's what's going to be the difference. And that's Will Anderson. That's the number 5 car. Pato O'Ward will be pitting this lap if Palou can stay out.
Does Palou cover? You heard Pato O'Ward confirm. No, Palou stays out. Game on.
Now it's down to the drivers, in laps, out laps, and the teams on pit lane. Charlie, Pato O'Ward coming to you.
This is the money stop for the McLaren team. The 5 car, Pato O'Ward comes into his box, slides right onto the marks. Primaries going on, and when aeroscreen tear off, it's full of fuel, and they're waiting on fuel. Clean launch for the 5 car and Pato O'Ward. Money stop for the Aero McLaren team.
That looks super
push,
clean.
Lap here, push, push.
There goes Scott Dixon.
Whoa.
Palou, traffic on his in lap. That is Will Power.
Not what he wanted to see at all. Managed to get around him. Power was on an out lap. Shouldn't have held him up too much, but still, you don't want any dirty air if you don't have to on an in lap.
Meanwhile, on racetrack, Pato O'Ward is behind Scott Dixon on his out lap. Chip Ganassi teammate to Alex Palou.
But at 22 laps down, that's a command blue flag. There's not much gamesmanship that can be played, and that's not the kind of thing Scott Dixon is known for anyway. I don't suspect that to be a problem, but right now it's all in O'Ward's hands to try and make that gap up. It's got to be a fast out lap for O'Ward, and now the race leader is coming to Georgia.
Alex Palou comes to pit lane, and this pit stop is going to make or break this for him. It's so important for the 10 team to nail this, and as he makes his way to his team, the Firestone red tires come off. Those primaries are going to go right back on. They're filling it up with Shell fuel, and
Oh no!
There was a little bit of a delay there.
Georgia, a big delay. Look at this. There's going to be a battle going up the hill.
Pato O'Ward coming through turn 1. He's got warmer tires. Pato O'Ward to the front has gotten around Alex Palou. A lead change at Mid-Ohio, and O'Ward has turned the table.
We talk about how important these green flag pit cycles are. Pato O'Ward doing everything that he had to do. Just a small hiccup in the pit box of the 10
Top, here
car.
we go. Once we're not under pressure, 86, fuel 86.
And now he's still got a lap warmer tires. This section they're coming up to, Palou's going to struggle through here on this out lap in comparison.
No pressure.
This gap is going to grow.
And Pato O'Ward continues to have the advantage on push to pass. 130 seconds remaining to Palou's 120.
Pato O'Ward is credited with the win this year, but he did not cross the finish line first. It's been 2 years since he took the checkers first. Could it be today? O'Ward leads at Mid-Ohio. Back at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, all of the 2-stoppers have made their final stop. Scott McLaughlin was the last to make his second in what should be final stop. So he is cycled back out to third, and Pato O'Ward is in front of Alex Palou after Palou dominated the first almost 2/3 of this race.
Goes Pato O'Ward clearing traffic on board here with Pietro Fittipaldi thanks to 5 Hour Energy. So Pato O'Ward starting to lap the back of the field. And I want to take a look again at the pit stop for Alex Palou. It was unclear to me, James, exactly what held him up on pit lane. We'll watch the 10 come to the box. Jack goes up, tires come on, tires go on, fuel is pulled, but then there's this delay.
And it looks like you see Palou look down at the wheel as if maybe he hadn't engaged first gear when he thought he had. The car has to be in neutral while it's being refueled, so we'll have to have a chat with them afterwards to figure out exactly what happened. But thanks to NTT, we'll take a look at the pit time differential for that green flag sequence. And look, the biggest differentiator right there, Townsend, all that time in the pit box, 1.1 seconds.
Now, wouldn't have been a big deal if he had maintained the 4 or 5 second lead, but because Pato O'Ward had hustled so much on the last stint to tighten things up, it really became up for grabs. It just was one little bobble on pit lane made the difference. And now Alex Palou goes from cruising to head down chasing, trying to hang on to the back of the young Mexican.
And credit to O'Ward on that outlap as well. We talk about how important those are in these cycles. 6/10 to the good on your two-time championship winner. So O'Ward now leading comfortably. A second and a half's been a pretty consistent gap, but they are dealing with traffic. There is 20 laps to go, and we're now back on the tire that this man here preferred in that first stint.
So at the end of that second stint, Pato O'Ward took care of the Firestones better, and that was the alternate. As Hinch mentioned, this is the primary again where Palou was so dominant. So I would say far from
Joseph
done.
Newgarden in the carousel. Joseph Newgarden, he was the leader on that alternate strategy of the 3 stops. He's in 5th place, but still has a stop to go.
Anti-stall there.
Did you hear Tim Cindric? He said it looked like it went into anti-stall.
Let's see what happened here. Into turn 11.
Who's that in front? Oh,
he clipped the apex curb of turn 11. He took too much curb. I've done that before. There's a massive divot right before the curb. It wouldn't surprise me if Newgarden even has some damage to his left front suspension from taking that big hit. It sent him aggressively off the track. Great job from a car control standpoint to keep the car straight and get it back on this new Mid-Ohio pavement, but that was a big hit to the left front.
It's kind of been all or nothing this year for Joseph Newgarden. He won the biggest race in the world, so it's still a great season. He won the Indianapolis 500. He finished 2nd at Road America, but 19th at Laguna Seca, 26th at Detroit, 17th on the Indy Road Course, 16th at Barber, and then the DQ at St. Petersburg.
But keep in mind, ovals are coming. It's been a tough day for Joseph Newgarden here at Mid-Ohio. He's still going to have to make one more stop, but there's been, 12 oval races, and Newgarden's won 9 of the last 12, 10 of the last 16. We've got Iowa coming, Milwaukee, Gateway. As we look at the remaining schedule, you gotta bet on Joseph Newgarden at the roundy rounds.
There's a few W's coming for the 2-team, almost guaranteed. We've added the oval at Nashville, the 1.3 concrete mile oval to finish out the season. That's one that the drivers love, and it'll be exciting to go back there. I know this guy chomping at the bit to get to this next phase of the calendar. And Palou has got that gap to O'Ward down to 0.8 of a second. Now even less than that. Guys, 18 laps to go. Pato's got his hands full. He's got one eye looking forward, but one eye on the mirror, trying to keep the 10 car at bay.
And you said it. I think you go back to tire compound. Advantage O'Ward on the reds. Advantage Palou on the blacks. I think this is going to come down to the last few laps. We've got a race to close things out today.
And the car up ahead of Pato O'Ward is a Ganassi teammate. Kiffin Simpson is the car that Pato O'Ward will catch coming up ahead. There he is in the Journey Rewards number 4 Honda.
It's so hard to know how long it might take Palou to get by. Catching is one thing. Passing, especially at Mid-Ohio, is a very different challenge.
And Kiffin Simpson is under no obligation to let Pato O'Ward by. From a gentleman's standpoint, maybe, But from a racing standpoint, absolutely not. He is still on the lead lap. He has every right to fight to stay on the lead lap, and that can only help his teammate, Alex Palou.
Stay with us. Much to be decided in Mid-Ohio. We're inside the final stint at Mid-Ohio IndyCar in the Honda Indy 200, and we have a race. Alex Palou controlled the first 2/3 on the pit exchange. Pato O'Ward faster on in-laps, out-laps, a better pit stop. He's in front. Arrow McLaren leading Chip Ganassi Racing, but Palou is back on the charge and is within 3 car lengths.
What I love about this is we see Palou dominate from the front. We see him control races and the pace out in clean air. We don't often get to see him get his elbows out, have to force the issue, and make passes for the lead on the racetrack. Very Scott Dixon in that way. He's won a lot of races through pit cycles and strategy and just pure pace out front, but now he's got that pace in the race car, but he's got to go against one of the toughest guys to pass in the series, and Pato O'Ward, who is hungry for that first on-track finish.
Efficient overtake out of 2.
So information coming there for Alex Palou, and for Pato O'Ward. He is hungry and he is healthy on push to pass. 11 seconds to the good is his advantage in terms of seconds remaining. 106 to 95 over Palou.
And keep in mind, these two cars have almost identical pace. It was the closest qualifying for the front row in the modern era, the Firestone Fast Six over the last almost 20 years. Alex Palou won the pole yesterday by 2/1000ths of a second, 0.002.
We always talk about how calm this driver is in tough situations. Look, he's going to be thrilled that he's got a car as fast as he does. He's going to be furious at what happened in that pit stop. It's a tempestuous kind of feeling that he's got in that race car, conflicting emotions, but he's got to keep them in check as he goes to try to chase down O'Ward for this victory.
And up ahead, you see some traffic. That's Kiffin Simpson and Augie Canapino. Normally at Mid-Ohio, Kevin, we see lap cars a real factor in the closing stages, but today the field is so close on pace. In fact, Kiffin Simpson just did a 107.9. That effectively matched the last lap from Pato O'Ward and Alex Palou.
Just a note on Joseph Newgarden. We knew he had to make another stop. He had a little bit of off, lost some position. He came out 11th, but now he is running in 25th after serving the penalty because he sped on pit lane, entering the pit. So bad to worse for Newgarden.
And a lap down is Joseph Newgarden now to the leaders as Alex Palou gets all kinds of squirrely out of the final corner, turn 13. I think he took a little too much exit curb. And if you do that, you sort of high center on the bottom of the car, and it was a handful.
By the way, Newgarden sped serving the penalty and got another one.
Oh, no. Insult to injury for the two team. But up front, Palou doing everything he can. Look, when you're driving around a track that's got fast flowing corners like Mid-Ohio.
3 seconds of overtake behind. Good fuel number, good lap time.
Let's take a look at this, James, from Alex Palou. That could have easily gotten away from him and into the inside concrete wall. Nice save from Palou. One thing's for sure, he's trying. He's doing everything he can to catch the 5 car.
He's pushing 10/10ths, but Pato got a bit of breathing room after that small mistake, and maybe there's a chance that O'Ward's just overheated his tires running so close to O'Ward.
Did Palou just overheat his tires? Is he pushing too hard? I've heard the drivers talk about exceeding the thermal limit of the tire and never being able to bring it back. I looked at track temp. It's 125 degrees out there on this new track surface. So you can push hard, but there's a penalty if you overdo it.
Well, for Pato O'Ward and Arrow McLaren, it has been a little while. I mentioned that it's been 2 years since he's crossed the line first. Same for the team. This team with a big budget, with so many resources. They have hired drivers, employees from other teams, but they've not been able to match Ganassi and Penske most of the time. They've been close. Can today become a breakthrough day for them?
Well, that number 5, if you can believe it, car number 5, Pato O'Ward has 5 wins, 5 poles, trying to break that 5 streak. Certainly looks to be on for it today as that traffic draws ever closer. And James, with 12 to go, I think this whole story here is likely to develop into something bigger, potentially an issue for Pato O'Ward to try to get by.
So this is what's very important to remember. The two cars in front, Agustin Canapino in the black and green Juncos Hollinger entry. Behind him, Chip Ganassi Racing's Kiffin Simpson. Those drivers are still on the lead lap. In IndyCar rules, you do not have to cede to the leader unless you are a lap down to the entire field. These drivers are not a lap down at all. So they are racing themselves for position. They're on track, fighting over 22nd and 23rd place. I know it might not seem like much, but when you're in the race car, you're racing the guy in front of you no matter what. There is no rule implementation that would allow them to force them to move over. It is totally up to the driver's discretion if they want to play ball or focus on their race.
And a lot of times it comes down to how much hate do you want to establish with the rest of the field, the leaders in this case, that might pay you back in the wrong way later on this season. As the strategist, Barry Wanzer there for Alex Palou.
Will Anderson
for Arrow McLaren. They're studying, they're looking at data, they're measuring lap time, they're thinking about traffic, but there's not much they can do to help their drivers at this point. It's a straight up race to the finish.
10 to go as they cross the line for Pato O'Ward. And he is only a few seconds on track behind Kiffin Simpson.
Now Canapino may have to pit. He would need a pretty good fuel save to be able to get home. So that's going to clear one, and maybe Simpson has the pace where he might not impact things.
10 laps to go, 10 to go.
Catching the tail end of the field there, Simpson and Canapino.
So you're hearing Will Anderson and Barry Wanzer at the same time, and now Pato O'Ward is absolutely in the dirty air, the wake of Kiffin Simpson. He'll feel on the front end of his race car that front wing is less effective. What does that do? He starts to pick up understeer. The car does start to squirm around more, becomes less efficient on the track, and starts to chew up his Firestones that little bit more.
Yeah, he's had the benefit of clean air as Palou's been chasing him for the last 10 laps, but now he is in the dirty air as well, losing that downforce in the wake of the car in front. As you say, Townsend, that can force slides, that can force tire temps to go up, and now it's a little bit more of an even playing field between these two drivers battling for the win. The class of the field by a mile. Scott McLaughlin 16 seconds behind this battle. These two are absolutely in a world of their own. We're used to seeing that from Alex Palou. He's done it time and time again, but what a performance from O'Ward to be up in this conversation. He did it on track, closing that gap before that last pit stop, took the lead in the pit cycle.
Let's revisit push to pass. Pato O'Ward had the advantage. Now they sit level. 82 seconds for Palou, 83 for O'Ward. So O'Ward has burned some push to pass to stay in front. How much is he going to use to try to get past these two slower cars of Kiffin Simpson and Canapino?
And this is one of the frustrating things as a driver when you're on the lead lap battling for position, especially a win. You've got lap traffic in front of you, and you're forced to burn push to pass to get around that lapped car. You want to save that for defense. You want to save that to keep the cars behind you. But at some point, O'Ward might have to get a little spendy on the push to pass.
You talk about burn. Let's talk about the burn in Pato O'Ward's stomach from the Indy 500 back in May. Leading last lap, and Joseph Newgarden goes big, forces the move to the outside, puts Pato O'Ward to second position once again at the Indy 500. He was devastated. I promise you, winning today will go a long way to relieving the sting on Memorial Day weekend.
As mentioned, he was credited with the win at St. Pete, and he's happy to take that, but it doesn't count on his mind. It's been 2 years since Iowa 2022. He's finished not only the Indy 500 in second, but 4 other times, 5 times he has been that close. He can almost taste it, but he has the most dominant driver in the sport right behind him, who is leading the championship, going for 3 in the last 4 years. Holding off Alex Palou is going to be a monumental task.
But I think James makes such a great point. Everybody talks about Palou for pace, precision, discipline, setup expertise. The question down the stretch here today, is he a fighter? Is he going to go box it out with Pato O'Ward on the last couple of laps, or maybe sooner?
Look how close he is. In the keyhole, he got within a couple of car lengths. It stretches out a little bit, down the straightaway, into turn 4, more comfortable for O'Ward. How soon is he going to catch Kiffin Simpson? When is the green and black car of Canapino going to make a final stop?
And Palou has closed that down. We were sitting at about 1.2 to 1.4 seconds after that mistake out of the last corner, down to just half a second. This is when O'Ward really needs to make that decision. How much is he going to force the issue with Kiffin Simpson, or is everybody sitting in dirty air actually going to save him?
James, what is Chip Ganassi Racing telling the rookie Kiffin Simpson? I wonder what might come over the radio. How do you coach the young driver through these moments?
Palou getting close. Palou will get the bonus points for most laps led.
Pushes here. Full overtake pushes. We got to lean on the 78.
That's to Kiffin Simpson. That's Chris Wheeler, his strategist.
And they want him to pass Canapino, but we pointed out already, Kevin, you brought it up, that Canapino likely to pit here with about 3 or 4 laps to go. I don't think he's going to have the fuel to make it to the end.
But here's what I like. I like that Chip Ganassi Racing's Chris Wheeler is telling Kiffin Simpson we need to get around the 78. They want to eliminate themselves from this discussion. There's no gamesmanship being played. There's no message to Kiffin Simpson saying, hey, make that car wide and hold up the car behind you.
Not yet.
Let's get around the car.
Not yet. We're talking about Chip Ganassi Racing with a win on the line right here.
We're talking about 0.3 of a second, Townsend. That's the gap right now. Palou is just all over it. He can taste that position. He wants to get around O'Ward so badly. Both cars suffering in the dirty air.
5 laps to go here at the line. Pato O'Ward trying to win on track for the first time this season. Overtake is the same. The papaya and black car is O'Ward, the leader, right in front. At the tail end of the lead lap is Kiffin Simpson, a Ganassi teammate, to the green car of Alex Palou within 2 car lengths again.
Palou really went for it in the brake zone there for the keyhole turn 2, but he loses on the exit. Not only do you have to drive with incredible technique right now, James, you have to think. As a driver, you got to think through. You got to think 2 laps ahead, a corner ahead, looking in your mirrors, trying to game the system here. How do I protect what I have, or how do I attack in the case of Palou?
You could throw a blanket over the top 2 right now. 5 laps to go, about 50 or 60 seconds of push to pass. That's the thinking as he goes wide. Palou drops 2 wheels out of turn 9. That's going to cost him half a second at least.
That's the second time this stint, Kevin, that Alex Palou has pushed too much. Remember, he did it earlier in the final corner in turn 13. He almost threw it away.
I was just going to ask, how aggressive will Palou be as points run? He has a 48-point lead on Will Power in the championship. Palou is going after it. He wants to win.
He is not resting on his laurels. He's not sitting and having a cruise and collect points day. He wants to go for the big trophy.
But it feels like every time Palou tries to push a little bit more than what the Firestones will handle, they penalize him for a lap or 2. They get hot, and he's got to settle back down, drop back to some cleaner air, and then he charges again.
O'Ward is doing a great job in this scenario, not getting too heated, not making a mistake, as frustrated as he must be with 2-lap cars in front of him as he's trying to hang on for a race win here. He is managing expectations, he's managing his emotions, he is hitting his marks, doing everything he has to do right now, but Palou definitely has a little more pace on these primary tires.
It's got to be close for Canapino. They need to make his last stop. He can't be saving fuel keeping up this kind of pace.
And for Pato O'Ward and Alex Palou, now you start doing math. In addition to driving at the limit, you think 4 laps to go, 3 laps at the line. I've got 50 seconds
to go.
50 seconds of push to pass. How much can I use each lap on average? You really start to project out to that final corner of the last lap.
And who understands the hybrid the best? This is brand new today. A hybrid component is available for an extra 60 horsepower, essentially a push to pass for about 4 or 5 seconds with a limit per lap, so it can be used about 2 times a lap. Here's Palou with a little bit of a run. into turn 4. This is the best passing zone, but no chance here.
Here's the advantage that Award has. For as much as he's dealing with the disadvantage of the dirty air off of Kiffin Simpson's car, he has enough push to pass to use it on every one of the major straightaways remaining. Plus, he has the draft. If he was out front on his own, pushing a big hole into that air, even with the push to pass, I believe that it would be much easier for Palou to try to close that gap and make a lunge into 4. But by having a little bit of a toe, it's helping him with that top end speed to make it harder for Palou to mount a charge.
Meanwhile, Kevin, Augustine Canapino, if he can finish, there's only 2 laps left.
Fuel worried. 2 laps to go.
31 laps to finish this stint. That mileage, superior.
Very, very impressive. And we are at about 4 miles remaining in this race. Less than 2 laps to go. With those at the end of the lead lap, they don't have to get out of the way. In front of the 2 leaders, the orange and black, the papaya and black car of Pato Award. Errol McLaren is leading. Alex Palou. Meanwhile, moments ago, that's Romain Grosjean going around.
Contact with the wall. It looked like maybe light contact. What does race control do here?
We're going to see the white flag this time by. Can we stay green? Grosjean's still running. Comes out right in front of Nolan Siegel.
And the leaders. That'll stack things up even more.
That was a replay. That was a little bit earlier. That was not a live picture. That was the last time by turn 9. As Pato Award comes down the hill now into 12. He'll cross the line to get the white flag. 1 to go. Time running out for Palou.
And they stack up even tighter, Kevin. White flag.
White flag. White flag.
Palou versus Award for the win.
1 to go. Is it going to be Pato Award and Errol McLaren winning on track for the first time in 2 years? Or is Palou going to take even more control in the championship and go back-to-back in Mid-Ohio and back-to-back in the season? He won 2 weeks ago at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. This is one of the last best passing zones, and Palou is not close enough. Award may have to deal with Simpson right in front of him.
But it seems like Canapino is slowing down even a little bit more to try to make it to the finish on fuel. So this is really going to back things up as they come through turn 6.
That was a chance right there down the hill into 6. Bit of a defensive line from Award. It was just enough to keep Palou at bay, and I don't know if there's any opportunities left.
And keep an eye on that green and black car of Canapino. He might run out of fuel and start coasting, and he does get out of the way. So Simpson is in front, the teammate at Ganassi of Alex Palou. A couple of corners left. Pato Award by 2 car lengths on the main straightaway. He weaves, he wiggles. Award wins. McLaren.
Checkered flag. You just won at Mid-Ohio, buddy.
And toppled Alex Palou at Mid-Ohio.
Yeah, boy! Long time coming. Long time coming. Enjoy it. Great, great fuck.
Did you see Award get sideways in the last corner? I don't know if that was for show or if that was for go.
That was for absolute go. That would have been on the energy deployment from the hybrid, spinning up the wheels a little bit, trying to beat Palou to the line. But how about Palou right to apex at turn 12?
He was on the grass.
He was. You talked about the aggression. He showed it. He was controlled in it, but he definitely did everything he could. But you cannot take anything away from this man
Happy
right
birthday.
here.
What a drive. What a great race.
Just a great, great race. That whole last second half of the second stint, a whole last stint, the battle between these two, and again, a 16-second gap back to 3rd place in Scott McLaughlin.
And you know what? Full credit to IndyCar and the development of the hybrid system to do that mid-season, Kevin. We had the issue with Scott Dixon, but other than that, 26 cars thriving in the hybrid era.
Check out this move from Award.
Whoa.
Hits the curb a little bit, gets sideways. But luckily, the finish line right there off the corner.
I'm starting to think that was more show.
No.
I think he threw out the back end for the fans.
I respectfully disagree.
Well, we'll find out.
Pato is flashy, but not that flashy. And I think this says something about Alex Palou. He could have easily said, I'm scoring big points today. I'm coming home in second. I'm going to get it done. But Palou went for it the entire final stint to try to somehow find a way around.
2 years since a win came on the racetrack, first across the line for Award and this team. A huge, not just relief, but just a huge result for this group. You saw that emotion from the close loss at the 500. This is no Indianapolis, but winning is still always great medicine.
Don't go anywhere. There's more motorsport to come today. Street racing from Chicago, the NASCAR Cup Series. After we're done today, green flag coming up about 4:30. Their coverage starts as soon as we are complete with Kyle Larson, the Rookie of the Year in this year's Indianapolis 500, on the pole. And Pato Award will know how to celebrate.
I bet he wants to get out of there.
I bet it's hot.
126 degrees on track. It's probably at least that hot in the cockpit. And once the airflow stops coming through the windshield, it gets real warm.
Chevrolet has won the first race in the IndyCar hybrid era. Honda comes home in second. Chevy, Honda, the top 5. There's Palou, leads the championship by 48 points. Pato Award is more in the mix now. And this checkered flag moment is brought to you by Advance Auto Parts.
And congratulations, Pato Award, a big win here in the Honda Indy 200.
That'll tell you something right there.
Yeah.
We'll let Pato Award cool off a moment, and then Georgia Henneberry is going to be there to greet him.
Pato Award victorious once again in the NTT IndyCar Series. Congratulations, and a well-deserved congratulations from his team, pushing so strongly. That last half of that race, realistically, the team's strategy totally on point. The pit stops on point, everything on point. His first win since St. Pete this year, his first win on track since Iowa 2022, and it's time to celebrate. This year has just been an emotional roller coaster for you. The hard work, the effort, it has finally paid off. You have made your way to victory lane again. What are the feelings?
Yeah, that was a hard-fought race. We were really strong on the reds. Palau was really strong on the blacks. So all I needed to do was just kind of stay at bay in the first stint and then come into the pits and put those reds on, kind of try and close the gap, and then, you know, get him in the pit stop sequence and or on track, you know. But great job by the team. It's been a while. I know we won St. Pete, but this is a proper win. We earned this one this weekend.
This team was on point this weekend, and more specifically today. Earlier this week, you told me this was the best car that you rolled off the truck with. Is this just a product of the effort and hard work going into this program?
Yeah, I felt very comfortable with the car this weekend, and you know, from the second practice, to be honest, going into qualifying, we executed, and I knew I had a really strong car under me for the race, so hats off to Aaron McLaren to give me a rocket.
Got a little hairy there in that last corner. Was that for show or just a product of how hard you were pushing?
No, we were pushing. We were pushing, and then, you know, we caught the traffic, couldn't quite get by him, and yeah, that was we set in that one.
We go to Iowa next, where you got your last on-track win. Where does this put your confidence level?
Yeah, I mean, Iowa repave. We'll see what it's got in store for us.
Congratulations, Pato Award and the whole Arrow McLaren number 5 Chevrolet team. Charlie Kimball.
I'm standing here with Alex Palou. You won here last year, come up one position short. You controlled the race from pole. What happened on the launch there in that second stop, and that changeover really seemed to be the difference?
Yeah, shame. I mean, it was a good race. The car was amazing. Everybody at the tank crew was amazing all weekend, but yeah, we couldn't really make the alternate tires last. Pato started catching us and couldn't really do anything. I just destroyed my front tires. So then we had a slow stop, couldn't really engage first gear. Maybe I was trying to get it too fast, so probably my fault. But anyway, good race, had fun. It was a shame we couldn't get the win for the tank car, but yeah, good solid day.
So not a win, but you extend your championship to 48 points. When you go to Iowa next weekend, you got a doubleheader. Are you still thinking championship, or is it easy to keep thinking about race wins?
I mean, I was thinking about the race win today, not the points. Maybe I'll get happier tomorrow when I see the points, but it was a shame that we couldn't really get this win that we wanted. But yeah, looking forward to the next couple of races we have, and hopefully we can be in the championship fight at the end of the championship.
Alex Palou comes home second today.
So here's how they ended up finishing up, and it was a good day for many beyond just those top 2 that battled throughout. Scott McLaughlin +4 in the day. Good result for him.
Also, Marcus Ericsson with the top 5. He looked strong all day long. Rookie Christian Rasmussen started in the top 10 and finished there.
Shout out to David Malukas. We saw that early issue running in a podium position. How about Toby Sowery, guys? Rookie in the IndyCar Series, first race, coming home 13th ahead of some big hitters.
We noted Joseph Newgarden's issues, the 2 pit speeding penalties, and then apparently a stop and go at one point as well for a discretion. So championship, no change up at the top. And look at Pato O'Ward, picks up 3 spots to get in the mix. And oh, what a day for Scott Dixon. He came in 32 back. Now he is 71 behind. So still plenty more to come. We're going to talk to more drivers. We're going to get you to the street race in Chicago for the NASCAR Cup Series. It's all coming up today on NBC. After today, IndyCar goes mostly oval racing. 6 of the final 8 on ovals, including the Big Machine Music City Grand Prix, now at the Nashville Superspeedway to close out the season and decide the championship. Get your tickets now for September 14th and 15th to see who wins the NTT IndyCar Series Championship. And after we're done, coming up in maybe about 10 or 15 minutes, we'll get you set for the NASCAR Cup Series race on the streets of Chicago. Kyle Larson on the pole, Shane Van Gisbergen starting up near the front, trying to go back-to-back after winning Xfinity yesterday. Should be awesome later today. All right, let's take a look at the Pennzoil moment of the race. We just heard Alex Palou talking about it. It was his last pit stop.
Yeah, some sort of glitch right here. Those precious second and a half maybe, that allowed the Papaya and Black Arrow McLaren of Pato O'Ward to just beat Palou out of the pits, but Palou did not give up. It would be a battle down the stretch, but the Mexican getting it done today.
Back down to pit lane with another podium finisher with Georgia.
That's right, he rounds out your top 3. That's Scott McLaughlin. Now, Scott, you started 6th, finished 3rd, but there were incredibly long green flag runs there. This place is already treacherous as a driver physically. What were conditions like out there?
Yeah, it was hard. It was a little bit, we were in no man's land there, so I was playing my own race. It was like a big, sort of just playing with a hybrid and learning a bit as well. So I'm just really proud of everyone that's on Soncio Vehicle Protection Chevy. I think, we've been up and down all year, and it's just nice to get a solid result, and hopefully we can build onto this into 2 ovals, and ovals that I really enjoy, and just keep building some momentum.
You're proud of them. I think they're proud of you, too. There were a couple times that came over to the radio and said, Scott, you're doing a perfect job. I mean, how relieving is that for you as a driver? Yeah,
it's nice. Your confidence gets knocked around when you make a couple mistakes here and there, and you come in with a lot of expectation, and you want to be good every weekend, but ultimately you're human and everyone makes mistakes, and I'm just so glad I've got a great team behind me to keep pushing on, and we'll keep working. Still plenty of races left in the season. We can keep improving and see where we're at.
On to Iowa for Scott McLaughlin, 6th to 3rd. Charlie.
Yeah, I'm sitting here on pit lane and pit wall with Marcus Ericsson. We saw you and your teammates swap positions a couple times during that race. What was the call from the team?
I mean, it was a bit of a strange race with the pace. We were struggling on the 28th for the first stint, and then the second stint, the car came alive, and we were flying out there, like lapping a half a second quicker than the guys ahead. So we were making up a lot of time, and got stuck a bit behind Colton there for a while, which lost us some race time, but eventually we got by. And then the last stint, we went for used reds because we were so good on the new reds. We had the used ones, we couldn't get them to hold on, so that gamble didn't really work out, and I had to let Colton back there on the last stint. So yeah, I raced with many ups and downs, but still happy with a top 5 and a really solid weekend for us on the 28 car.
Yeah, good weekend. And other than that first yellow, no yellows, green for the last 75, 77 laps. How physical was it out there with the new surface here at Mid-Ohio?
It was okay, but for me in the end, with those used tires, I had a lot of massive vibrations, so then it just gets hard to drive when you barely can see down the straights with all the vibrations, and plus I had Alex and Christian all over my mirror, so it was a bit of a challenge there towards the end. So I had to push really hard to keep them behind, but I managed to do it in the end.
A top 5 for Marcus Ericsson, Georgia.
And another top 5 for Colton Herta. Obviously, this was the start of a new era for IndyCar. So what was your take on the hybrid throughout the race? This was really the first time people got to see what it was made of.
Yeah, I mean, I think just like everybody, we wanted a clean race, a reliable race as far from the power unit and engine. And we ticked all the boxes we really wanted to from that side of things. We're still learning, so we're still trying to optimize it. And I think when we come back here next year, we'll be even better equipped with it, obviously. But our Cambridge Honda was fast. We just didn't quite have the speed for that top 3, but happy with 4th. It was a good day for us.
And I have to know, 2 successful runs for the Cambridge 26 team in Monterey, and now here we go into an oval next at Iowa. Where does your confidence level lie?
Yeah, I mean, we were really quick there. We were fastest when we tested there, so that's a good showing for us, but it's a lot of unknowns still. You know, we don't know downforce level and how the tires are going to react to that. You know, we don't know with the surface change how big of a difference it's going to be if you're going to be able to open up and run lane 2. But, you know, I'm excited about the race. I'm excited about getting back-to-back IndyCar races. I love doing this stuff, so can't wait to be back in the car next weekend.
There's a lot of exciting things going on down here. Thanks, Colton. He is also a top 5 finisher here. Guys, exciting day today at Mid-Ohio.
And it'll be exciting next weekend in Iowa, too, with the Hy-Vee IndyCar weekend. Don't forget the Saturday concerts, Luke Combs, Eric Church. It's an 8 Eastern start, and then Sunday, Kelsey Ballerini and Post Malone. Let's just listen in for a minute. Oh, we lost him. All right.
Pato O'Ward was just reflecting about how hard they were pushing. I got to say, O'Ward looks a lot more used up than Palou physically. Hot for both drivers, but O'Ward comes out on top. And I just love the diversity of the IndyCar schedule, guys. We came off, what, now 3 road courses in a row. We're going to go back-to-back oval races and then to the harsh and unforgiving streets of Toronto, James, your hometown, and it resets the field.
And look, the reset's been good. Let's look at the top 4. McLaren, Ganassi, Penske, Andretti. I love to see that kind of mix-up in the field. It's been a big learning day for everybody. Every time we get on track with these things, we're going to learn a little bit more. You say Toronto, it's going to be a unique challenge in and of itself. Pato O'Ward, always one of the most popular guys in the field. This is going to be a popular win among the fans in IndyCar.
Hey, I mentioned some others that had really good days. Alexander Rossi continues his consistency. His situation and status next year is uncertain. Finished 6th in the day. Lundgaard 7th. Kirkwood continues to get results 8th. And the best finish of his rookie season for Christian Rasmussen.
And Ferrucci rounding out the top 10 there. Another solid drive for the A.J. Foyt Racing driver. Just a race that sometimes can be a little bit processional and maybe a little less exciting. That turned into one heck of a finish.
Not today.
Not
amazing
today.
talent up front and amazing talent coming up in Chicago. Those NASCAR boys learning the street race and doing it well.
Somehow, some way, we pulled off an exciting race here at Mid-Ohio.
It's been fun today. Look forward to following the street race in Chicago coming up in just a few minutes. Townsend's former teammate at the Rolex 24 and sports car, Shane Van Gisbergen, trying to go back-to-back. Everybody chases Kyle Larson to start things. Well, this has been a fun 4th of July weekend celebrating America's birthday with great racing. Pato O'Ward getting past Alex Palou to win. Thanks for joining us for the Honda Indy 200 at Mid-Ohio, where Pato O'Ward has won for Arrow McLaren. Coming up next, it's NASCAR Cup Series racing from the streets of Chicago. Good rest of the day.